Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today video lecture is about error detection and correction. Error detection and correction basically occur at data link layer. One important thing is that before correcting error must be detected first. So we need to detect error first and then we can easily correct that particular error. However, we need to define error first, that what basically error is. We can simply define error. We can say error is a condition where the output information doesn't match with the input information. So whenever you transmit any data and at the output, we can simply say at the receiver side a condition when the output information doesn't match or does not match with the input information. So there is a possibility of error in this particular condition. Types of error. There are three types of errors. One is single bit error. The second one is multi-bit error. And the third one is burst error. So we can write the first one is single bit error. When a single bit is corrupted in a frame at the receiver side. Multi-bit error. When multiple bits are corrupted at the receiver side in a single frame. And the third one is burst error. When consecutive bits are corrupted in a frame when at the receiver side, so that is basically burst error. We can simply say that multiple bits and consecutive multiple bits are corrupted, so that particular types of error is called burst error. So error detection and correction occurs at data link layer, and before correcting error must be detected first. Then we define error, that error is a condition when the output information doesn't match with the input information during transmission. And we define three types of errors. But the main problem is, how can we detect error? How can we detect error? Because error detection is an uphill task, so a difficult task. So how can we detect error when you are transmitting streams of bits? So we can detect error using two techniques. Two main techniques are used. Two techniques are used to detect errors. The first one is redundancy. Through redundancy, we can detect error. What is redundancy? Redundant, or we can say extra bits, redundant bits are added in order to detect error. So you simply add some extra bits with your information bits, and on the basis of that extra bits you can detect error at the receiver side. So adding that extra information with the original information is called redundancy. So we can simply write that group of extra bits that are generated. First we can generate that particular redundant bits that are generated and moved with a data transfer to ensure that no bits are lost during the data transfer. So you add some extra bits with information bits and you basically move that particular extra bits with the data to ensure error detection at the receiver side. So error detection and correction basically occurs at the receiver side, not at the sender side. So how this phenomena can take place? Let's suppose we have two parties, one is sender and the second one is receiver. Let's we draw two boxes. This is a sender and we have a receiver here. One is sender and receiver, and we have data here, data in the form of, let's suppose, 10111 whatever. So these are data bits and we have some data basically, and we have some generating function. Generating function basically generate redundant bits or extra bits. So the redundant bits are basically, let's suppose we can see that redundant bits are 101101. These are basically extra bit that we simply first generate these particular bits and then we move that particular bit to the original data, so that to ensure error detection at the receiver side. And then what basically you do, this is basically data, that is 10111012. These are, and then we simply add these redundant bits 101101. So we basically move these bit with the original data, and then this redundancy checker, and at the receiver side we have checking function, and we check error in the particular frame on the basis of these redundant bits. So in this way we can ensure data confidentiality or data error detection and correction. So we have two main function blocks. One is generating function, the second one is checking function. Generating function basically generate the redundant bits, and checking function basically analyze and validate the sender data and its validity, that the data will be accepted or rejected. So if there is no error, so the data will be accepted, and if there is some error, so you can discard that particular data or the sender is supposed to retransmit that particular frame, or we can correct that error, and we have some mechanism or techniques through which we can correct that particular error. So the second one is, so the first one for error detection was redundancy, and this through this particular phenomena or schemes we can easily detect error. And the second one is extra count encoding. extra count encoding. So these two methods are basically used to detect error. One is redundancy and the second one is extra count encoding. Extra count encoding is basically based on the checking up the number of ones in the receiver side. So based on checking the number of ones in the received data. So extra count encoding, it's basically check the number of ones are same or not at the receiver side. So to determine error, through extra count encoding, to determine error at the receiver, it counts the number of ones. It counts the number of ones. In the next video we will see that how redundancy and extra count encoding occurs and how can we detect error on the basis of ones and redundancy. So we will practically solve problems through redundancy and extra count encoding. So you can count the number of ones and find out that the number of ones are even or odd. If in case error detection occur, if there is some error, so how can we correct error? So how can we correct error? The second main problem is after detecting error, how can you correct error? So error correction. As we know that error detection can be found out through redundancy and extra count encoding. And error correction, for error correction similarly we have two methods. The first one is retransmission. If there are so many errors and difficult to correct that particular errors, and then we can easily retransmit that particular frame. So retransmission, the very simple phenomena is retransmission. And the second one is in error correcting codes can be used at the receiver side to correct error. So retransmission and some error correcting codes are used at the receiver side to correct error. So in the next video we will see redundancy and extra count encoding, and then we will see that how retransmission and error correcting codes are utilized for correcting errors. Thank you.